Hi everyone, I hope you're well, thanks for clicking on the video. Everything has changed in the world of MMA since my last MMA show. I had a feeling that this would happen, to be quite frank. We spoke about Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler possibly being in doubt. We also spoke very highly of the matchup between Khamzat and Robert Whittaker, both of which now have fell through. Khamzat apparently is violently ill, whatever the fuck that means. I remember back along when he got violently ill then as well. He got like COVID or something. I wonder if that's the case again this time. Something to do with his respiratory system, his lungs. I'm not quite sure, but it's serious enough for him to pull out from a main event in Abu Dhabi, so it must be pretty legit. I mean, the UFC must be getting really fucking sick of Khamzat Chimaev's antics at this point in time, you know what I mean? Because if he's not missing weight, he's pulling out of bouts that, you know, when he first joined the UFC, it felt as though he was ready at any time, any place. No bullshit, he's ready to go and he's coming for your head. Seems now there's always a few obstacles at least to kind of overcome when booking Khamzat Chimaev, especially in a main event. Which sucks because I love Robert Whittaker and I felt like a win over Chimaev would have put him right back into a title contention. So that's a damn shame. Same for Khamzat as well, but as a Rob fan I was really looking forward to that. But the big news that everybody is talking about more so than that is Conor McGregor for the first time having to pull out of a UFC scheduled bout against Michael Chandler. They haven't said it's cancelled, it's been rescheduled, although we don't have a new date yet. So I'll be looking forward to see if they announce a new date. I've got a really funny feeling that this fight might not ever happen. I think Conor McGregor, you know, I've spoke about it recently almost too much about how he's lost his aura, but this just really speaks to that point, right? He's went from being a guy who will show up injured on short notice against whoever. And look, I get that he is coming off a really serious and significant injury, and if this is like anything to do with that, we can't help but kind of understand, right? Because I mean, he's already up against the odds in going against the top 5, top 10 of whatever division he's fighting in. To do it coming off this injury is insane, and to do it coming into the fight injured, like not even feeling 100% or as good as 100% he can get, is shit. So I guess I understand why he's had to pull out, but it is a bummer. But Dana White and his matchmakers have pulled off a miracle because they've really put together some decent fights on short notice here. So the new main event for UFC 303 is Alex Pereira, who is a fucking gangster, versus Jiri Prochazka in the rematch. You know, a lot of people questioned the stoppage in their first fight. I didn't. I thought it was a reasonable stoppage. Perhaps 1 or 2 shots too early, maybe. But I think I like to... It's funny, the UFC world, everyone in MMA likes to complain, right? We always say, oh, well, let's lean towards the side of caution, right? But when a fight gets stopped early and they lean towards the fight, like towards caution, rather than letting it go, people complain. They say, oh, you know, he isn't dead yet. Why have they stopped the fight? It's frustrating. But on that day, the ref leaned towards the side of caution. Alex Pereira had his hand raised, but Yuri's getting an opportunity to get that W back. Frankly, I know Alex has been calling for a heavyweight bout. If he beats Yuri again right now, I think he should be in the UFC's good graces enough to say, hey, look, my next fight is going to be at heavyweight. And it's going to be against Jon Jones. I'm calling that right now. Jon's going to beat Stipe whenever that fight takes place. Hopefully sooner rather than later, right? Like, Jon's been gone for a while now. But if he beats Stipe, I really do see Jon saying, you know what, I'll fight Alex Pereira over Tom Aspinall any day. You know what I mean? That looks better on paper. That's better for his legacy, again, on paper. Because, of course, now at the time, everyone's saying Tom Aspinall. He is the guy who's going to beat Jon Jones. But he doesn't have, that kind of... he's on a different echelon than what Alex Pereira is, right? Alex Pereira is elite. What he's done in the sport already, what he's done in combat sports, period, is amazing. The fact that he's double champ, he's done it so quickly. His legacy is far more cemented than what Tom Aspinall's is. And so for Jon Jones to beat Alex Pereira, 10 years down the road, that'll look far better on his resume than it will having Tom Aspinall, in my opinion. So yeah, Alex Pereira versus Jiri in the rematch, that's something I'm really looking forward to. Another couple of fights that got made, right? Diego Lopez is the new co-main event of that show, UFC 303. He's fighting Brian Ortega, which is a fucking scrap. That is a barn burner. I think I would have to lean towards Brian Ortega, but there's something about this Diego Lopez kid, man. He seems special. He comes to fight. He throws every single time. He throws caution to the wind and he goes forward and he puts on a good scrap every single time. So this is a fight that undoubtedly will be a good one, possibly even fight of the night. Really looking forward to that matchup. Well done to the guys being able to get that sorted so soon. I'm guessing they already had that fight arranged perhaps, or maybe they were organising it for a date not too far away, because for those boys to step up on such short notice in a co-main event slot on a big pay-per-view, you know, respect to those guys, but that's quite a big deal to do that. Another cancellation that I forgot to mention earlier is that Jamal Hill pulled out of his fight against Carlos Ulberg. So as shitty as that is, we actually have a replacement in Anthony Smith, who's another guy in the sport who I really like. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to dislike Anthony. I'm a big fan of the Believe You Me podcast. I think he's great on there. It's done wonders for him in showing off his personality a bit more. And yeah, just a big fan of Anthony Smith. Is this a good matchup for him? Absolutely not. He's fighting a young up-and-comer who is on a good run and is coming off of a win not that long ago. So he's going to be feeling confident. He's going to be feeling very, you know what I mean? He's not going to feel too rusty in the cage. He's going to get in there. He's going to feel like home, you know what I mean? Worry for Anthony Smith in that fight. Perhaps Anthony can work his grappling, because I would feel as though that's going to be the weakness for Carlos, but he's a big, strong guy, man. This is a tough matchup for Anthony, I think, on short notice especially. And finally, like I said earlier on, Khamzat pulling out of his fight against Robert Whittaker. The replacement for Rob, you know, obviously he's no longer fighting Khamzat, he's fighting, is it Askarov? That absolute killer. I think he's got like some kind of French roots or something perhaps. Either way, he looks like a Dagestani, but he's actually French, I think, or something like that. But every time that guy fights, we're kind of left feeling pretty impressed, right? I do think that on short notice, Rob Whittaker should be able to go in there and do bits, because I think the version of Robert Whittaker we're going to get is going to be his absolute best version, because he's been preparing to fight Khamzat Chimaev, and you know what you're getting yourself into with a fight against Khamzat Chimaev. So I'm expecting Rob's best self, and I'm expecting him to maybe win in like a decision or something like that. So yeah, that's everything in the world of sports, in terms of combat sports anyway. It's only been a few days, but it seems like everything since we last spoke has changed. That's how it goes in the world of MMA. Regardless though, I think the UFC have done pretty good with the hands they've been dealt. You know what I mean? Like, they've been dealt some pretty shitty cards this week, but they've managed to pull off, like the UFC always does, to be fair, like to their credit, they've managed to pull it off and put on some really good fights, regardless of the ones that are pulled out. Like the way that they've been able to take some of these fights and put them together short notice, I mean, they deserve a round of applause for that. It's very impressive. For now though, guys, that brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel down below. More content just like this regularly, as well as other stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, I've got a Halo 3 playthrough being posted at the moment. So if you enjoy video games, go and check that out as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.